This is also a DC to DC converter that belongs to a 2022 Nissan Epower. Let me open it up and I'll show you. So opening the DC to DC converter from Nissan Epower cars. Take a look what we have here. This is actually very interesting because the first thing that we have is just power and ground, which we could say it's our controller. And then absolutely all the power that fits the onboard electrical system comes from these two tiny little cables. Now remember, they're orange because it's high voltage. Now then, if we consider that we're just receiving positive and negative high voltage, what is the process in here for us to deliver 14 volts? Let me show you. First thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to take out the main negative and the main positive high voltage that comes from the battery pack or the high voltage battery pack. Then I also disconnect the communication line. So here it is, positive and negative from the high voltage battery. Once in this board, we're using 1, 2, 3, and 4 transistor semiconductors in order to turn them into a pulse width modulation, once again, or a PWM, that is being sent into this coil and absorbed by this coil that finally with the use with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 individual diodes to turn them into direct current. We filter and smooth with this coil and this capacitor, and finally we have our main output, 14 volts. So how do we diagnose a DC to DC converter? Well, very easy. Just make sure you have positive and negative coming from the high voltage, low voltage signal command, and make sure that you're taking 14 volts output. If it doesn't work, most for sure that happens is because of the cooling system. Yes, unfortunately, this system produces a lot of heat and it needs to be cooled. If by chance the high voltage system cooling begins to fail, the DC to DC converter is one of the most common components that begins to fail due to overheating. Why? Because it damaged the semiconductor or transistors. So I'll say I want to use my hybrid electric car and to use a powerful sound system. Let me remind you that these two tiny little cables are the one that receive all the power from the high voltage battery. So yes, think again. You always, every time you're gonna use any type of sound system kind of stuff, always install additional batteries and additional capacitor. Every single hybrid and electric cars are not using any more alternator. They're not using DC to DC converter. So if you want to know more, stick around for more tips. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.